Call a crew to the fire tonight. Raise them up. Bring the fight. Boats hit the floor and the night it ignites. Steel in our veins, yeah, we live for the fight. Dust on our throats and a spark in our chest. We don't back down, we don't second guess. Katie's got the fire, lighting up the flame. Lazy swings hard, yeah, we're carving our name. From the gutter to the stage, from the bar to the sky. We're the voice you hear when the weak don't try. We're that drum, feel it pound in your bone. No kicks here, we take our own thrones. Hey, raise the crew, let them hear the sound. Hey, from the ashes we're burning it down. Hey, no retreat, no fear, no excuse. We are the roar. We are the ToosDay Crüe.
Pins in the air and the chaos grows. Stories get loud where the wild wind blows. We're scars and grit, yeah, we paid our dues. Now we're kicking in doors with nothing to lose.
Voices collide like a runaway train. Laugh through the struggle, dance through the pain. If you're standing with us, then you already know. We don't follow lines, we just steal the show. Feel that fire ripping straight through your chest. This ain't a game, it's a war cry test. Hey, raise the crew, let them hear the sound. Hey, from the ashes we're burning it down. Hey, no retreat, no fear, no excuse. We are the roar. We are the ToosDay Crüe. Call 'em in, call 'em home. Through the fire, through the storm. We don't break, we reload. We don't kneel, we explode. Raise the crew, let them hear the sound. Hey, from the ashes we're burning it down. Hey, no retreat, no fear, no excuse. We are the roar. We are the ToosDay Crüe. Day Crüe. ToosDay Crüe. Day Crüe. ToosDay Crüe.
Misfit Nation! Tonight isn't just about noise. Tonight is about soul. Tonight is about fire. It's about every scar that made you stronger, every setback that didn't break you, and every single person out there still fighting to become who they're meant to be. Because that's what the ToosDay Crüe is built on. Real people, real stories, real grit, and the kind of energy that hits you in the chest and reminds you you're still alive. So whatever weight you carried in here tonight, let it go. Whatever doubt's been hanging over you, shake it off. Because for the next hour, we rise together. Tonight we laugh louder, we hit harder, we dig deeper, and we bring enough fire to light up the whole damn night. Misfit Nation, From the soul to the speakers, make some noise from the voices of resilience and raw energy. Steven and Jake, the ToosDay Crüe.
Good evening.
Good evening, Stephen. Hey, I am great. How are you doing this evening?
I am fantastic. It's been a while since we've been in this room together.
I tell you what, it has been.
It feels like a month. It's like
it does. It does.
So welcome back.
Welcome back. I take it you had a good day today?
Yeah, I had a good day today. Got what I needed to do get done, and hung out, relaxed a little bit, and here we are for the show.
I had a good day until just after work, put an injector pump in a 6.5 Duramax. Don't recommend it. No bueno.
It was too much like work. It was really complicated.
It was all already apart. I was just putting it back together, but hey, it cranked up and ran when I was done. So I'm happy about that.
The pain in the ass part is getting it apart and putting it together the same exact way most of the time. Where did I put that screw? You looking all over the damn place.
Yes. Hey, we got a great show this evening.
We do.
Yeah. What do you say we kick it off?
No. Well, I don't want to start it yet. What I wanted to bring up was, Memorial Week's coming up soon, Memorial Day. And we still have openings, and I want people out there listening to either get in touch with us at info@misfitnation.com, Jake at themisfitnation.com, or Steven if they have a story to tell. Let's get these openings, if we have any, taken care of, and let's get people on the show for that week so we can, show our pride.
If you're out there, you're a veteran, you want to tell your story, hey, come on, get out here. Misfit Nation wants to hear from you.
That's what you get for pushing me. So, yeah, okay. Anyway. All right, you ready?
Let's go.
All right, Jake. A lot of people spend their entire life searching for purpose after the military.
Yeah, brother. And, once that uniform comes off, I've lived it. All veterans have lived it. Reality hits pretty dang fast. New mission, new identity, new pressure.
And tonight's guest knows exactly what that looks like. Eddie Hutchinson didn't just serve the men led soldiers in combat, flew Black Hawks in Iraq and Afghanistan, supported operations at the Pentagon, then stepped into an entirely different battlefield after retirement.
Yeah, and that transition piece is real. A lot of veterans struggle with it, but Eddie took everything that the Army taught him: discipline, accountability, leadership under pressure, and built something designed to help military families stop losing everything they worked for.
The founder of RECON Real Estate and UseRECon. Eddie's mission now is protecting families, protecting equity, and helping people move forward without getting crushed by broken systems.
This one's leadership. It's grit. It's one's real world lessons from a dude who lived at every level.
So whether you're a veteran, an entrepreneur, a homeowner, or somebody just trying to figure out your next chapter,
pull up a chair because this conversation's for you.
All right, let's welcome
Eddie to the ToosDay Crüe.
ToosDay Crüe, what's up, guys? Hey, it's good to be here.
What's up, Eddie?
It's good to see you. Good to be here.
Good to see you.
I'm honored. Took me a minute to get here, but it's good to be here. I'm going to tell some stories. Those will be true stories, half lies, and just full-blown made-up stuff, but they're going to be exciting, I promise.
All right. Wouldn't expect anything less.
I like that.
Now, hey, we told a little bit about what you're doing now, a little bit what you've been through. Why don't you fill the Misfit Nation in, start from wherever you want to start to how you got to where you're sitting right now?
Sure. Yeah, I joined the Army in 1996, came from a small town in the Midwest. Not a lot to do there, a lot of factory work. Most of the people I graduated high school with are still working in those factories. Couldn't do it. Joined the Army, Went to Fort Bragg, absolutely hated it. Would have done anything to get out of it when I first got there because it just wasn't, it's a different kind of monster out there. Ended up loving it, took to it, found a space that I could operate in. It felt like a football team. It felt like being a part of something, which I loved. And then, then you throw in the leadership side of it. And for me growing up, poor little guy from Northwest Missouri, when I realized in the Army, what you wore, how much money you had didn't matter. It's all about how hard you work, showing up on time, all, the discipline, the standards. And the Army became a pretty easy game for me to play, honestly, because I could show up to work on time. I had a dad with a lot of discipline, and I was used to that kind of lifestyle. So ended up enjoying it. And, I kept going. The Army, military in general, throws carrots at guys. You have a young guy that's 20-something years old, maybe has a family, and he doesn't have a great plan to get out after a couple of years. And the Army says, hey, I have a $4,000 bonus for you. Well, $4,000 bonus to a 20-something-year-old with 4 kids or 3 kids, and you don't have a good plan, you're going to stay in the military. And that's kind of what happened to me. I hit the 10-year mark, and I didn't have a plan to get out, and I enjoyed it at that point. And then the Army said, hey, we can put you in the seat of an aircraft. So I did that, and then, you have a 6-year service obligation, and it just went from there. So there was no plan to stay in the military for 20 years. It just kept happening, and which, is where it got me to at the end of the career, which is retiring out of JBLM, and then transitioned into real estate because of things that happened during that 20-year period. I set out to try and figure out how to change it. And that's a hard nut to crack because there's a lot of systems in place to protect people, the consumer, which is important. But there's a lot of systems in place that are slowly changing to prevent a lot of change from happening in the industry, really. So just setting out to figure that out and help people save money. And, there's a lot that goes into buying and selling homes. A lot. And for the young families, young military families, I mean, they just, there's just no knowledge on it. They go into it blindly, and you trust the realtors who do a good job of taking care of them to help make the right decisions. But just, setting out to help these guys figure it out. And, I continue to do that today, which is why I opened my own brokerage, and my wife is alongside me because now, the reins are off. Aside from the legalities of it all, there's not a lot of people holding me back. And that's what I encountered before in other brokerages that, you had to answer to other people. And that part of it, I hated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always better to work for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And, then, when you take that side of it out, which is people questioning why you're doing things in the industry that doesn't want to be changed, when you can take that part of it away and figure out how to run in the fringes and stay legal to help people, you really can do a good job helping people. And there are a lot of realtors out there now that are doing a good job and trying to help, but the system's been set for so long that it is a challenge, and it's changing. There are a lot of brokerages now that are starting to do more of a flat rate thing. They offer VISPO stuff because here, and this is not everywhere in the nation. This is local right now to Clarksville. But people need these young families, and it's not just military, it's everybody, but these young military families, they are in dire straits. It's epidemic's a strong word, but to that, to that family that can't sell, that's exactly what it is. It's a rough go. If they bought in 2022 or 2023, man, there's a lot of families out there that are struggling to figure out what to do, and they can't even rent their home. The properties that I manage now, every single property that I manage is losing at least $200 a month.
Wow.
But that's the best. The other option, a lot of people are being told maybe a short sale, but that's going to ruin these young families. The short sale will ruin you for the near future. But anyway, it's getting the information out and trying to figure out something that can help these young families navigate that situation in this current market is a challenge. And there are some people, honestly, that, they're just, the numbers are stacked against them. The amortization schedule, the fact that you pay very, very little towards your principal of a house when you buy it for the first 3 or 4 years, because the majority of that money is going to the bank for interest.
Yes.
Then you stack on the VA funding fee on top of your loan, and a market that's it doesn't even have to go down. It can just kind of stay stagnant. And then 3 years from now, you're expected to pay your commission, the buyer's commission maybe, and maybe the buyer's closing costs, which is all negotiable. But those things stacked against you, these families are struggling. So just setting out, there's a lot of realtors doing it now here locally, setting out to help those young families navigate that situation, stay afloat yourself and try to make some money while doing it, and not rub everybody in the industry the wrong way so you can continue to work with people. You know, it's a hard nut to crack. It's a fine line to ride. But we're doing it slowly but surely.
Yeah. And, you know, you talk about the short sale and all that. And I don't know exactly how all that works, but I almost fell into that, selling a house. It wasn't selling, and, you know, wasn't getting any action on it or anything like that. And I almost went with one of those realtors that, you know, if I can't sell your house in this many days, I'll buy your house. And that was almost one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my life. And because I was going to take it in the shorts, and I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, those are challenging situations, especially if, you know, if you're younger and you don't know a way out. Because, you know, if you go talk to the average family, it doesn't matter where they are in the U.S. If you talk to your average young military family, maybe a first-time buyer, and they're trying to sell for the first time, there is no way out. There is no other option. You know, they're struggling. If you look on, you know, if you looked on the local Facebook pages, it's every day people post that are stressed out, that can't figure out how to sell because for the longest time they felt like there is no option. And, you know, when a realtor, if they're stuck in a system that they have to navigate that's been set up the same way for years and years, decades, you know, that their hands are tied as well. There's not a lot they can do. So that's why I started UseRECON to get the word out. FSBOs fail for a reason. You know, FSBOs are scary. It's just got a bad connotation to it anyway for sale by owner. People don't even know what that means hardly. They don't know where to start. And that's what I give them, is a platform that's free, that looks cool. If you've seen it, it's super cool platform.
Yes.
You can put your house on there for free. It doesn't cost anything at all up front, which, you know, there's not a lot of sites like that. And then you get an email with exactly how to do it, exactly how to talk to people, exactly where to market it, what happens when you get a caller, a buyer, how does that process work? And then when you find a buyer and you get the negotiation started, you have somebody there to walk you through the toughest parts of it, that's what people don't know. They don't know the title part. They don't know the inspection part. They don't know any of that stuff. And that's what they need help with. And that's where we can step in if they want and say, we can get this thing to closing. And, you know, that can mean the difference between a young family, you know, not being able to close on their home or walking away with $5,000 or $10,000. And to a young military family, $5,000 or $10,000 may as well be $1 million.
Right. Now, in the regular world, how long does, say you are going to put my house up, how long does the realtor hold on to that if they don't have a buyer before they finally give up? Or do they not care? They just hold it and they have it, and you know, how does that work?
Well, you typically do a listing agreement, and that's for a preset amount of time. But, you know, let's say like in this market, the average days on market have hovered around 60 or 70. I think they've dropped a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for those 60 or 70 days, it's stressful for everybody. The realtor's feeling stressed as well because they want to get the house sold. There's an expectation that you price the house right, you market it right. But in a market like what we have here, it is a challenge because it's stressful, you know, especially these military families that have to move. They're trying to time this whole thing perfectly where they have a place to live until they leave, but they get their house sold because they're moving somewhere that they have to pay their mortgage or rent there too. So they can't leave a house back here still for sale and making payments on it. So it really puts people in a pinch. But to answer your question, you just do the best you can. Some people let their listing expire, which means it just comes off the market. Some people pull their house off the market, like I did a couple times, because it just wasn't selling. And I hit a point where I was going to have to come to the closing table with $30,000, which I didn't have. Most young military families don't have that kind of money to just put on the table just to get their house to close. So, but you know, that's the tough situation that some people are in right now, is trying to decide, you know, to try to get on the market and sell it, or just rent their homes out. And I'll be honest, I'm honest to people about this, is some of the best things that happened to me were the worst things at the time, which I couldn't sell my house. It happened to me in Virginia. It happened to me in New York at Fort Drum. And I had no choice but to rent my home because I couldn't move and pay thousands of more dollars in rent or mortgage at a different place. So I got my house on the market. Thank God it rented. And, you know, 10, 15 years later, which is what I tell people now, that money comes back to you. You know, I was blessed that my home stayed rented month after month, because I was in a military community. And I was able to recoup that equity, and I was paying towards the principal at some point. So I tell people now, you know, it's not a terrible idea to just hold on to your house and rent it if you can and keep the equity, because I tell them to picture a bucket in a room that people are throwing money into every month. And at some point, that bucket of money is yours and you get to take it out whenever you want. So It's just trying to educate people in a tough world. You have the military member that's still working every day, that's now got a PCS to a new duty station, get his family packed up. They don't have the knowledge because it's just not taught anywhere. And they don't have the time. They expect a spouse, whether it's male or female, they expect the spouse to handle all that stuff, which is a challenge as well.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, I got to dip out. I got an emergency I got to attend to. I'll catch right.
Sounds good.
Okay. One of our great listeners, Nina, some rental places seem predatory here in Clarksville. How can we tell?
Some rental places, well, I could answer it. I would need some more context if it's rental places like property management places or places that are renting out to people. Those are two different worlds. Nina, if you could clarify that.
I'm sure she will.
But, you know, I can answer that broadly. It's like any market, any industry in America, in the world, you know, there are going to be people who prey. And right now is a time that people can be preyed on if you're not. And the best thing you can do is educate yourself, find a realtor or broker that's intelligent, that knows what they're talking about, that can protect you. I mean, that's the whole job of hiring somebody like that can walk you through the day-to-day stuff and not let you get taken advantage of.
You know, my father lives there in Bloomfield with me in New Jersey, and he's 86. He owns a house. He gets 5 calls a week. People looking to pay him cash as is. Just sell me the house, and you know, we'll take it as it is, not even look at it. You know, different markets, different places, I guess. You know, because we get a lot of influx from New York trying to get into New Jersey to get away from New York taxes, where you'll put a listing on a house and people will line up around the block. And the house will be listed for $220, it'll sell for $280 because people are upbidding just to get the damn building. You know, it's just crazy here. You know, so you have dry spots, and then you have spots that are red hot, from what I've seen, real wise. You know?
Yeah, I mean, those places, you know, they're betting on the fact that you know, and that's a perfect example of someone being predatory, in my opinion, is calling someone that's elderly that can't really fend for themselves. You know, and for someone to call and say, hey, I'll give you $200,000 on a place that's paid off, that's probably worth $400,000. Well, that's a predatory thing to do, you know?
Yes.
And you just pray that those people have somebody in their corner or in their life that can protect them from somebody like that.
Well, my father, being the smart ass he is, he just starts screaming out some hands up on him, but he literally gets like 4 calls a week, different people offering him money for his house. Oh, we'll take it as it is. We don't care what it looks like. We don't care how bad the electric is. His cash on just go, you know.
Yeah.
I just find that amazing without even looking at it. They're just trying to get properties, blow properties up and do things, you know. Jake, everything okay?
Yeah. Mrs. Holland's service dog came to the door and was whining and knocking on the door, and I thought something had happened to her outside. So I went out to the chicken coop to check on her, and I think it was Moon just wanting to come in to eat. So no emergency, and I apologize.
Hey, we've all winded a door before trying to get something to eat. So
I was more worried that everything was okay. That's all.
Yeah, thank you for your concern, but no, right. She's all right.
So the large apartment complexes, I don't know how they could be predatory. you know, there's only so many ways you can prey on somebody if you're trying to move into an apartment complex. It's, you know, if you look at the paperwork, and again, there are realtors that help you navigate this stuff that are bound legally to do duties to take care of you to keep you out of that stuff. So the best thing I could advise anyone that's going out and about in the real estate world, no matter what you're looking for, is to find a realtor, find a broker that you get along with. Personalities matter. It's important to get along with the person you're working with. It's helping you make a decision, which could be one of the biggest in your life. But if you go out by yourself, and again, this is not just the real estate industry, it's any industry. If you go out and try to navigate that world by yourself without help, there are people that will prey on you. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's the best way to protect yourself, is to go find someone. Realtors don't get paid up front, but to go find somebody that can help navigate that world. Most realtors I know would answer anybody's basic questions probably all day long. They would answer questions for you just to help people navigate the situation. And it doesn't really matter if it's an apartment complex, townhomes, a private rental, buying a house. You know, most of the realtors I know will help people navigate that.
Well, some of those people who are renting places, especially around military bases, are the same people who are selling cars up and down 41A.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. Yeah, you can get yourself into, hot water if you don't do your due diligence and watch out for yourself and your family. You have to, otherwise you will get preyed on.
Yes, you will.
I got another question for you.
Yeah.
At half sack 76 wants to know, the platform had a pumped up mortgage guy on a while ago, Danny Archer, I believe. He shared a lot of tips and tricks for the real estate community members. Are you hooked up with a specific broker that does that as well? Or
So, no, I have a lot of tips and tricks for military community members myself. As far as a mortgage broker, I have a couple of people I go through that I prefer to work with, that I give people, I refer them out because I know for sure they're going to get taken care of. Most of these people are military related, spouses, veterans. They understand the VA system really, really well. And for me, what's important, and I'll be honest, back in the day when I was just in the Army and I was using mortgage just to do my own thing, I always believed in the bigger companies. I've worked with USA forever and I use them for mortgages forever. And I still bank with them. I believe in that company. But some of your local lenders can compete with those rates. And, this is something a lot of people don't know because they think a lender's a lender. If I, as a realtor, if you have a lender yourself and I call the 1-800 number that you give me to talk to your lender, I may talk to one of 100 people. And those 100 people don't know you and don't know me, and they're just working a system. And I'm not saying it's terrible because maybe they have a good rate, but for the local lender that I can call at 7:00 at night when I have a problem on your behalf, and that gets fixed, and that's who I know I'm talking to through the transaction, who has a vested interest in me and my client. Mm-hmm. That's who I prefer to go with. And again, I'm not saying it's terrible to go with a bigger company, but it makes it difficult sometimes if you can't get a hold of somebody, or if they have odd hours and you have an emergency or you have something that needs to be figured out. It does make it a challenge. But so to answer his question, I do have preferred people that I use. I have people that will talk to you all day long about mortgage stuff. I can talk about mortgage stuff. A lot of realtors will. When they get really in the weeds about interest rates, buy downs, stuff like that, realtors, brokers will tend to move you towards the direction of talking to the mortgage lender because they can answer those specific questions based on your situation.
Okay. Now, I have a question. You're talking about lenders, and there's a particular lender out there that I really do not like dealing with. And it seems like every time that I have bought a house, and I'll go ahead and say who it is right now, is Wells Fargo. And it doesn't matter who I borrow money from. 4 months after I start making payments on my house, my account changes to Wells Fargo. And Is there a way around that?
Yeah, there is a way around it, and that's knowing up front, and that's where the realtor can help you. Is it's called servicing a mortgage, right? That's what happened to you. They changed the person that's servicing your mortgage. Wells Fargo went and purchased that loan, and now they're the ones servicing your mortgage. And I know it's happened to me until I figured this whole thing out. It's happened to me numerous times where you get a letter in the mail and it says, hey, your new payment needs to go here and here and here. And now all your banking has to change. Your payment due date has to change. And it's because somebody else is servicing the mortgage. What I like to tell people when they're trying to choose a lender is ask the lender if they service their own mortgages. If they service their own mortgages, they keep that mortgage in-house and they service it the whole time. It's never going to be shuffled back and forth from person to person.
Okay. All right. That has bugged me for years. And now I got an answer. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just finding out up front who services their own stuff and who's going to go out and sell it.
Well, I would figure if they're servicing a loan and they find somebody with a better interest rate, they're going to move it over for them, not more for you. Is what it is.
Yeah. And it's on that fine print that nobody ever reads.
Yes.
Nobody reads. Nobody reads that stuff. And I'm going to go back to the first question of the predatory stuff. Back when the housing bubble hit, one of the reasons why it hit is there was a lot of predatory lending. And that was, people who didn't really qualify for a home would get a loan, never make a payment, and then would go refinance the house and get a refi on it, take in X amount of dollars, still never make a mortgage payment and leave that thing to fail. Those systems have been changed and there are things in place to prevent that. So the point of that is there are a lot of systems in place now to protect the homeowner during that process. There are a lot of things you have to sign, a lot of things that lenders and realtors can't do to prey on people. I'm not going to talk specifically about that person was talking about an apartment complex, probably has different rules, but there are a lot of things in place now to protect people. But again, if you go out on your own without some help, you put yourself at the mercy of the world, which can be pretty brutal.
Yes, because the bottom line is everybody wants to make a buck.
Yeah. And if you're the low hanging fruit, they're going to pick you for sure.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So now you talked about, your RECON Real Estate. Let's, and I don't know if we can do it without a visual aid or not, but let's talk about, you kind of went through UseRECON a little bit. Let's talk about, I've got a house. I want to sell it. What? Oh, look at this.
Look at that. Hey, I'm proud of that thing, man. That's cool.
I tell you what, I like now. So I'm trying to sell my house.
Yeah.
Walk us through it.
Okay. So right there, you can rent or buy or sell on this thing. So you can go to sell a house. Okay. So right here is your drop down box. This is kind of what we were talking about before. You can find Fort Campbell in there, but let's pretend like your mom lives in Georgia in a place called whatever, Georgia. And there's a place down there where if you don't see the place that person lives in, you can just click on it, send us an email, and we can make that thing work. It's super easy for me to get the developer to change that. So you can choose anything in there. Fort Benning, all the process is still going to be the same. And then pick a number you think you're going to sell your house for and put it in that little box right there. So that calculator right there just shows over, the standard commission rate. There is no standard commission rate. Over the typical commission rate, that's the potential savings you have using the FSBO platform. That just kind of gives you an idea.
Wow.
And what was your total number you put in there?
I don't know. The producer did that.
Oh, okay.
350.
350. Okay. Yeah, so that just gives you an example of the type of money you could save. And again, to a young military family, that if you're coming close, if you've had a realtor at your house and they say, hey, I don't know if you're going to break even, that $16,000 right there is a game changer.
Yes, it is.
That's real money at closing. It's not savings and tax. It's It's actual money that you could walk away with at closing. So the difference between breaking even, which honestly is a blessing for some people right now in this market, and making $10,000, $15,000, $16,000. I mean, that's a vacation and an easy PCS.
Or a lot of
and want to highlight here to everybody watching, this is a veteran-owned company. So if you're a veteran out there, you know that you're going to get treated right. So,
basically, what you do is from there you would go in and you sign up, and I don't capture people's information or emails or send you anything. But when you go sign up and you log in, it's going to give you a page. It's just like any other Zillow or anything else where there's a spot you get an email, it pull you into the website. And the next site is, the next portion of that site is just a place where you can upload your photos. I tell people all the time, AI, whether you believe it or not, in a case like this is your friend. AI could even Google Gemini, which is free. Anybody can use it. You type in your address and say, hey, I need a listing description for my address. I'm going to sell it. It'll pop out one of those cool things. Look at this beautiful 2-story home, blah, blah, blah. You can put that in there, the pictures, the square footage, and make it go active. And when you do that, you get an email that basically says, hey, welcome to the family. This is exactly what's going to happen next. Here's how you handle, the marketing, the buyers. It tells you exactly what to do step by step.
Now, let me ask a question. If I go on Google, and I've done it, say the house I grew up in, which was actually an apartment building, the house my father lives in, I Google that address, it'll come up with a price for that house. Where does that price come from? Is that just the current value they think it is, or the current value it is? When you
No, it's the same thing. If you go to Google or Zillow or, homes.com, they're all going to spit out some information based on analytics, what has happened close to you. And that's, it's a challenging thing, honestly. Being a broker is when you go to a house and somebody says, my house is worth $650. That's what Zillow says, but Zillow hasn't been in your house. Zillow doesn't know what your house smells like. It doesn't know what your house looks like. It doesn't know what the yard, condition is, because that's a huge part of it. When somebody comes to your house, if your yard looks great and they walk in and it's inviting and it smells good and it's, it's well taken care of, well, that changes the game a little bit.
Right.
So that's how that plays out. But it is challenging.
I've noticed that just playing, I've done that, and it'll show you the last time it was sold, how much it was sold for, and what they say the price of the building is. I'm like, are they guessing this market, or are they just doing what the guy down the street sold? So maybe this house is about the same.
Yeah. And if you go down, like I'm going to use Zillow, for example, if you go down Zillow, it's going to show you the closest 3 or 4 properties to you that sold in the recent months, which is what's spitting out that number. But again, it's, it can be a challenge if somebody gets their head wrapped around that number and all of a sudden they have this number in their head. When you come to the house, they think it's worth X amount. Now you have it. Now you have to overcome the first obstacle, which is the homeowner themselves. And, another challenge in the industry is, it's a challenging environment. It's extremely competitive. Real estate is extremely competitive for realtors. Everybody wants to sell the house. So then you can get, a verge into somebody saying what they think you might want to hear to get the listing. If you want to hear your house is worth $650, hey, I'm going to tell you it's $650 because I want the listing. That's not the right thing to do. And I'm not saying everybody does it, but it's, it's real. It happens. And then the next thing you know, that homeowner is sitting on a property that's never going to sell at that price. Now we're going to come down 20 grand. A month later, we're going to come down 30 more grand. Now they're getting lowball offers because they've been on the market 60 days and they were $50,000 overpriced, which if they would have just priced it correctly in the first place, they would have made more money and been off the market sooner and not made another mortgage payment.
Right.
Yes. Now, is it easier to say, and again, it probably depends on the market. Is it easier to sell like a house in a subdivision or a house with property, or does it just depend on what the market's looking for at the time?
Yeah, honestly, it just depends on that specific individual, because, we have people all the time that say they want some land. They want some land with a property. Like, we used to live out in Woodlawn where the homes out there all have a couple of acres, at least an acre and a half. But the trade-off is you're 40 minutes from the nearest, Sam's Club, good restaurants, things like that. So it's just sometimes it's letting people develop, letting that thing play out and develop. But as far as the market goes, that part of it doesn't really affect it. It's more so what that person is looking for, or maybe what they think they're looking for. Because once they see the whole picture, they drive 40 minutes away because they want 2 acres. That's not so appealing anymore.
Yeah.
But until they feel that pain, you could call it. It's hard to describe what a 40-minute drive every day looks like. I think one of you guys mentioned a 40-minute drive, but it's hard.
Yes.
You could be 10 minutes down the road outside the gate where you have a little bit of less property and less land, but you also have a 10-minute drive and you have, 12 more hours with your family that week.
Yes. And you brought up something. I wanted to mention this, and you checked on it. I was scrolling through your Facebook page, and there's a video of you. I don't know if somebody was buying a house or what they was doing. You went out and test drove from that house to their place of employment just to give them an idea of how long that it's going to take them to get to and from work. And I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, and some people, especially because we deal with out-of-state buyers here all the time because people are buying sight unseen. And that's something you can do to actually show them what it's like every day, especially at PT time or right after work on a Friday. It's cool to have the house that has the land or the thing with it, but driving an hour in traffic every day will change your mind on that. But it's just something that it's not just me, but a lot of realtors will do it. We'll give you an idea of the whole picture of what you're getting.
Yes.
Let me just jump in. Not that I know anything about any of this, but say, I go to you, I want to sell my house. Where do you figure a price? Do you come and inspect the house, or is the house just what you think the market is ready to do?
No, I think the best, and everybody does it differently. I'm not knocking anybody, but the best thing to do is to go to the house, visit the person, see what it looks like, see what it smells like, what condition it's in, because that really affects the property. It's not so much, the price per square foot is the price per square foot,
Okay.
Generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But if I walk in the house and there are 14 cats in there and the yard is torn up and you have, punched 8 holes in your wall, well, that's a different conversation.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Like I said, when I Googled, say, my father's house, it was at X amount. Now you walk in his backyard and his back shed's on a little bit of an angle. And you look at the roof, there's 4 layers of shingles up there.
Yeah.
That's the max. If you have to do your roof, you got the whole damn roof down.
Yeah.
It's a 100-year-old house. You got the cotton wiring. You have to rewire the house. So how does that flux up and down?
Yeah, and that's that in-person visit.
From a $600,000 house to a $400,000 house because you have to do all that damn work to bring it up to just the code. Yeah,
no, that's right. And the basis of it is you're going to run, a market analysis on the home, and that's just pulling up. You get the property address, you pull up the MLS and see what's sold. Hopefully, there's some things that have sold close to you within the last couple of months. Those are really good comparables. Price per square footage and, the way that house looks. And a little bit, depending on if it's a ranch, a split level or a 2-story, you got to take those things into consideration. But that's how you would pull the base number of it, is to look at the comps, the best things you can get, the closest that have closed recently, that most matched your home. That's where realtors are going to pull that data from. And then you take that and you take the condition of the home and you just start adjusting from there.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know what the realtors actually do because, they always talk about the house inspection. That means when you go and you look at it, you have the house inspected, or you trust the realtor to have the house inspected. I didn't know if they actually went in and they inspected it first to have an idea what is actually going on in the building.
No, it's not really. I mean, I wouldn't say it was an inspection per se. You're just kind of checking out the house and what it, how does it feel? What does it look like? And then you start taking those things into consideration. If the roof has to be replaced, it's a discussion we probably should have. Is that something you want to do up front? Do you want to fix it so it's not a problem? Or do you want to let that thing ride and see if the buyers even care if the roof needs to be replaced?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with the roof. But when it comes time, God forbid, there's so many layers up there, they have to rip it down and put new wood down and everything to do it because it's so damn old. That's something if you don't look, you don't realize.
No, yeah, for sure. And that's where the inspection comes into play. And hopefully the buyer's agents, are, and I'm sure they do, they say, hey, the best thing you can do is get an inspection, because it pulls those things up. And then it's, the inspection, you have the negotiation on price. And once you agree to a price and you go under contract, then the inspection is the next thing you get to negotiate on. It's a whole nother negotiation process. So to get an inspector and to look at all that stuff like the roof and everything else, and then it's just a whole nother negotiation, whether it's giving money to get those things fixed or to have them fixed outright.
Yeah.
A lot of different ways to do it based on the seller's situation. Really is, do they have the money to fix it? Does it need to be done ahead of time at closing? Do they need to compensate the buyer just with money so they can fix it? And that's all stuff a realtor is going to go over when they go to the house. All those options you have at your disposal to let you make the best informed decision on your situation.
Okay. All right.
I have some questions for you.
Yeah.
First one has nothing to do with realty. At Grow Together wants to know, what was the hardest part of your transition out of the military?
The hardest part was the first year was the hardest. I tell people the first year out is the hardest year in the military, because it sounds cool, or it did to me anyway, to sit around and have a beer and watch baseball and have your time to yourself. But idle mind is the devil's playground is true. I mean, that was probably the hardest for me, is I didn't have a good plan, because I was kind of set up financially in the current situation I was in. I didn't have a lot of stress financially. Therefore, I was kind of, I didn't have a purpose. And you guys have people on all the time to talk about that. Not having a purpose when you get out is the worst thing you could possibly do.
Yes.
It's cool to have a break. Everybody needs something different. But if you don't have something to occupy your mind and have a goal and a mission and a job, no matter what it is, that was the hardest part for me, is understanding that you can't just chill, because your mind is going to take over. And that's not a pleasant thing.
No, it is not.
But yeah, that was the hardest part was, for some people it's financially, which is real, because you're losing more than half your pay. Even if you retire, you're going to lose more than half your pay. You're going to lose your food money, your housing money. So the financial stress is real. But for me, it was more of a mental thing of, it's not so cool just to sit around and think all day about things. It's way better to get yourself involved in something.
Yes, it is.
Let's move on. I have
All righty.
From Rufus McCoy. They say, take a place like Clarksville, the last 10, 15 years, where there has been constant new builds and hard to sell and establish home with all the new shiny stuff.
Well, it is not hard. It depends. There's a lot of variables in that question, a whole bunch of variables. I mean, how long have you been in the home? How much equity you have? What kind of neighborhood you're in? I do have current listings right now that are in the same neighborhood as a bunch of new builds that are super nice, and it is competitive. It is really hard if you're going to price your home, compared to a brand new home. A lot of people want a brand new home, but there are also people who want. I have one listing that has, he has a 10-zone sprinkler system worth probably $12,000. He has, a safe. He has a wired up security system. He has permanent lighting in his home. All those things you can get. And I kind of compare it to when you go to a car dealer, you can get a brand new basic truck, or you can get a 2-year-old truck that's lifted with nice wheels, tinted windows, and everything else on it for the same price. Some people are looking for something different. So I wouldn't say it's a disadvantage to have a pre-owned home that's been around for a while. It just depends on how well you've taken care of it, that neighborhood, and what the market's like, and what those homes in the market are doing. So there's a lot of variables. It doesn't necessarily hurt you to have a standing home that's in the same area as new homes.
Okay. Now, you was talking about different stuff that's in different houses. Do you suggest maybe, like, if you're planning eventually, say I know I'm probably going to live in my house 3 to 5 years before I PCS or whatever, kind of making an upgrade every year, or just making sure that I keep everything up to date with it?
Yeah. I would just keep it nice. That's what I do. There are not a lot of things you can do to your home that return that dollar.
Okay.
dollar for
All
dollar.
right.
Just not a lot you can do because, you're guessing, for one, you're guessing what somebody else might like.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know the difference between really high-end solid surface countertops and mid-grade stuff. So what I say is if you want it, I'm going to give you an example. In our last time we put a pool in, you don't get money back on a pool. Some people think a pool is terrible. They don't want a pool because it's a liability. I put a pool in because I want it for my kids. Appraisers aren't going to give you money for, I'm going to say they're not going to give you any money for a pool. That's a broad brushstroke I won't do, but you're just not going to get that money back. At the end of the day, you have to know that some things you do to your home are going to be because you want it to be that way when you're there.
Okay.
If that's a decision you make, that's a wonderful decision because you're going to enjoy it the whole time, but you can't expect, there are not a lot of upgrades that you're just going to get the dollar for dollar back on. So I would advise people, unless you just want to do it to make yourself happy while you live there, there's not a lot of upgrading I would do unless the house, generally speaking, needs to, you need some light fixtures and some general updating is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And that would go the same for people with cars. You have a $5,000 car and you put $20,000 worth of modifications in it. It's still a $5,000 car. Just
there you go.
Yes,
it doesn't mean a damn thing.
Hey, this is the one you love.
Right.
That's right.
But they're like, oh my God, it's worth this now. No, it's not. It's still a $5,000 car. It just looks, pretty because you put little lights and stuff on it. That's all it is.
Yeah, and that is a challenging situation. Every day brokers and realtors walk into is you go into a home and somebody's done something that they love and they're passionate about it because it's their home and they love their home. But you have to have a hard conversation somehow and not offend them, but at the same time, make them aware and educate them on the situation they're in, that they're not going to get the money back. And go ahead.
And there's people out there that their house is worth more just because they owned it.
Yeah. Yes. And what I tell people, the best frame of mind a seller can get into is it's not a personal transaction anymore. It's a financial transaction. And as soon as you can wrap your head around that, people that are making financial transactions and smart moves financially are gonna come out on top. But if you hold on to the fact that you raised your kid there like I did mine, and you had the thing there and that happened, and why wouldn't the buyer like that because I like it? That makes a tough situation to sell in, and it can end up hurting you more than helping you.
Yes.
Because as soon as you start making smart financial decisions and let go of that upgrade that you thought you did that was cool, and because you lived there, like you said, as soon as you can let go of that and be as smart as you can financially, which is usually the realtor is going to help you do that, that's when you're going to make out the best.
Yes. And our producer, I guess, he just checked his house out, and that's what he's looking at right there.
Hey, I know a realtor that can help you, big guy.
I don't think he's looking to sell. I don't know.
I didn't narrow that window right down. No, and that's the challenge. Is the first thing that a homeowner is going to do is see that high end of it, and I'm telling you, it's so hard. It's almost every time. That's why I be careful about talking, super specific numbers right off the bat, because if I say I think your house is worth this, you'll be surprised at how many people can do that kind of math that quickly because they instantly put a number in their head based on what they owe. If you say, they owe, let's say 280, and I walk in and say, I think it's worth 420, they can do that math instantly. And once they do that math and that number's in their head, it's a challenge to overcome because anything less than that is going to be disappointing to them.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people, I've been in that same situation myself where, but then they're not factoring in the closing costs, the commission, all the fees that are involved, and what may come with the inspection, what kind of money you have to give up to get over that hump as well. And then it becomes this thing where people, instead of being happy about making $150,000, they're sad about not making 160.
Right. Yeah. And I always go into it, the mindset, if I break even, I'm ahead.
Yeah.
That's with about anything I try to sell. If I break even, I'm ahead of the game.
Yeah. And in this market, I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of families that would love to break even. that are just desperate to want to hear those words that you can break even and not have to come to the table with, because, military families, these young families don't have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to throw onto the closing table. And it's sad because, these families have paid their mortgages on time. They pay their bills on time. Their credit's good, this isn't anything anybody's done to them, or some of them they've even done themselves. It's just the market has kind of flipped around. But I've also seen the other side of it, where I've seen young military families walk away with hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is a good thing. It's not always doom and gloom, but you can't guess that market. You can't guess the time. You just have to hope and have somebody in your pocket that's smart enough to help you through a challenging situation. And that's, I think, where a good realtor can help you. Pretty much no matter what the situation is, they're going to help you through that thing. And it's important to have somebody that knows what they're doing in those challenging situations. It's easy to sell a home in a hot market and make a lot of money. It's super easy when you have 20 offers on everything and they're $50,000 above asking price. It's the days like these that are challenging, that you have to figure out how to help this family get out from under that house without owing money or without doing a short sale, which will cripple them financially.
Yes.
That's when you got to put somebody in your pocket that knows what they're doing. And there are a lot of people here locally and across the nation. I worked in multiple markets that can do just that.
Well, I tell you what, work with young soldiers every day. And I tell you what, if any of them come up and, they're PCSing or whatever, I will definitely send them your way. Because, I believe, just after talking to you, I don't think that you're going to let anybody take a screwing. And that's bottom line right there, because, there are people out there that will try to do that, but, I don't think that's going to be the case here. And,
no, I've actually taken a few of those myself to make sure that other people don't.
Hey, you know what? And good on you for doing that.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people out there now that will, honestly. I know a lot of realtors here locally and across the nation that'll do the same thing to try and help a young family out, especially a young military family who's giving it their all. Now,
okay, say I sell my house through you. I'm PCSing to Fort wherever. And can I get with you and say, hey, do you know anybody here? Who do I talk to when I get here? And you can hook guys up?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's called a referral process. It's super common. And what I do, and what a lot of realtors do, if I don't, let's say I don't know somebody, you're moving to Fort Belvoir, Virginia, in the DC area, I can call and I can call and, give a realtor a pretty quick, easy interview and just ask a few questions and see if they're going to be able to take care of you. Do they really know the VA loan process, the ins and outs of it? And, but yes, that happens all the time. It's normal. You should do it, because realtors will find a good realtor to help you through the process on the other end. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
I got a couple more questions here for you, bud.
Okay.
At How 50 on You wants to know, do veterans have enough support when starting business after service?
Yes, I believe they do. You have to know where to look, and you have to be proactive. People aren't going to come to you and ask you if you want to start a business. A good place to start is Google. Say, I'm a veteran. I want to start a business. Who can help me? And there's a place in Nashville. It's called SCORE. For example, if that person is local, there's a place in Nashville called SCORE, and it's free. And those are senior business owners who have retired or maybe still be in business that are giving their time away to military people that are entrepreneurs and veterans trying to start a business. That's who I've used myself. There's the Small Business Administration, the Veterans Small Business Administration, that has links and contacts. There's a lot of money available. If you can do it the right way, there are grants and loans that you can get. There's a lot of education as you're going through the transition out, whether you're retiring or just ETSing. That whole process of, it used to be, I don't know what it is now, but SFL TAP, Soldier for Life Transition Assistance Program, they have those people to come in and talk specifically about starting a business and how to do that and how to get the best support. So the best thing you can do is help yourself and understand that nobody's coming to help you. You have to go find the help yourself and scratch and claw and dig and not give up, that's the best thing you can do to start a business as a veteran.
All right.
Fantastic. Hopefully that answers that question. And here's the next one. Digging It wants to know, what leadership lessons from the military still impact your daily life?
Oh, wow. Leadership lessons. Geez, there's so many. I think just being in the military itself and being a leader for a long time, I think you get used to situations, and that's what those military situations, those challenging environments where you have to take charge of somebody that it's uncomfortable because you don't know what you're doing. And, just being in charge of something will grow you as a person, but that affects me on my day-to-day life. The biggest thing I can do is knowing how to talk to people, and knowing how my whole premise is, how can I grow the person next to me, whether it's my kid, another person, a business owner, and the mindset I have going into any organization is, how can I change it for the better? What systems? I'm a systems guy. I believe in systems, because if you have a good system, it doesn't matter if it's in your house folding laundry or in a brokerage every day dealing with paperwork. If you have a good system in place, it's hard to fail at stuff. So probably the best answer to that question I have is I learned to trust systems. And once you put a system in place for whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. If you have a solid system in place, it's going to work out.
Now, being a pilot, do you have a checklist for everything?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's a huge checklist, and, I was an instructor, and that's the first thing you do is see if the guy, because a lot of pilots fly so much, they can start the aircraft with their eyes closed, but that's not the right way to do it. And that's why there's a checklist, so you don't miss something like that.
Yes.
So,
Roger that.
absolutely. And maybe that's part of where I got my systems thing is I just got so used to having a system that didn't fail if you use it the right way, that just developed over time. And I even use it in my day-to-day life around my house. It works with my kids and my dogs and everything else.
Awesome. Okay, Stephen, let's get this last question in here. I think that's the only one left in the.
Sorry, boss. I wasn't quick enough.
No, that's all right.
And Founder's Hole wants to know, when a house has been on the market over a year, should you just stay away from it or try and lowball it? Thank you for that question.
Yeah, that's a good question. It all depends. And that's why it's good to have a realtor. They're going to help you through that. I mean, if I see a house that's been on the market for a year, it does bring up questions, because most people won't let their house be on the market for a year. So the first thing I do if I'm representing a buyer that wants a house that's been on the market for over a year is just call to see if it's even real and if it's for sale, and kind of what the situation is. Is it because it's overpriced and the person just wants to see if there's maybe a good offer that comes along? So you wouldn't necessarily just stay away from it just because. Lowballing hardly ever works. That's if a house has been on the market for a year, it's probably already been lowballed. But the best thing you can do is, I'm going to come back to it, is find a professional in the industry that can walk you through that situation and help you through it.
All right. Well, hey, okay. Now, somebody wants to contact you. What are some ways that they can get in contact with you?
They can look for RECON Real Estate in Clarksville. They can call me at 931-263-4200. Message me on Facebook. We have TikTok. Pretty much, there's a number of ways you can get a hold of us. And if you can't get a hold of me, it's because you're not looking.
All right. And hey, I want to tell everybody, get on that website, get on UseRECon. I checked it out. It's easy to navigate. And if you're selling a house and want to do it yourself, and you saw, we put up the numbers, how much money that you're going to save by using this. And it's a really good deal. It's a really good deal. Now, Eddie, like we do every Tuesday, we got one last question for you in 3 parts.
Let's do it.
All right. What are 3 non-negotiables that Eddie has to do every day, or his day is not complete?
3 non-negotiables every day, or it's not complete. Wake up and go to the gym. That keeps me physically and mentally fit. Ensure my kids go out to school in a positive way.
Okay.
And What else? Probably make sure everybody in the family it's a tight-knit group. Everybody's good to go. Has had a decent day. And if not, we talk about it. But my life is all based on family stuff and making sure everything in my little bubbles is good.
All right. Hey, that's 3 great things. And hey, Misfit Nation, you're out there, you're listening tonight, feeling a little bit down, don't feel like you want to make it till tomorrow. I tell you what, stop right where you're at, get on that phone, dial 988. If you're a veteran, take option 1. And there's somebody on the other end of that line that's going to help you. And if you don't want to do that, contact us here at the Misfit Nation, and we will get in touch with you, and we will do our darndest to get you the help that you need, because tomorrow will not be as beautiful a day without you in it.
That's right.
Eddie, thank you. Hey, I think that you are providing an amazing service. I wish 15 years ago you'd have been up and running, because you'd have had a customer. I guarantee it.
And 15 years ago is when this idea started, because I was right where you were at, brother.
I guarantee you'd have had a customer.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. It's good to be on with you guys and get the info out. And, if we can help just one person through this process, it's worth it.
Yes. Yes.
Just one person.
Yeah, that's the way we operate here. If we can help one person, we have had mission success.
That's right. Yep.
Well, hey, Eddie, you have a wonderful night. It was great having you on here, and I hope that this garners you some customers.
I hope so, and I appreciate you guys' support, and I look forward to coming back on soon.
Hey, I tell you what, when touch back with us in a year. And,
I will.
All right.
I'm something bigger than this that I haven't talked about tonight, because I'm gonna let it flourish and do its thing. But I'll be back on in a year, and we'll talk about that part.
Okay, Eddie. Well, thank you very much. And
thanks,
Misfit
guys.
Nation, thank you for joining us this evening. Stephen?
Good night, everybody. Don't forget, Reach Across America, Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Check out the Misfit Nation there also, okay? Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.